Good evening, everyone. I'll be talking about discogenic back pain in young adults. That is a difficult thing to manage for an open surgeon, or sometimes the patient comes, we do not have any answer. We can't fuse these patients. And so what I'll be telling you what is an endoscopic spine surgeon's perspective in dealing with such cases. I'll just be talking about my one single case in this. It was an 18-year-old female who had complaints of low back pain since past 2 years. The pain was moderate to severe in intensity, and it was so severe sometimes that she had stopped her education due to her back pain. There were no radicular symptoms at all, that is, no leg pain or no paresthesia. Her HLA-V27 was negative. All other inflammatory markers were within normal limits. She had visited many orthopedic surgeons, many neurosurgeons. She had taken all kind of medicines and physiotherapy, but there was no relief even after 2 years. She had even received a shot of epidural steroid, but that didn't help her either. So when she came to me, I examined her and I found that there was no spinal deformity. The thing which I found interesting was when she was flexing at her lower spine, there was increase in her back pain. And second was McKenzie test, which is I asked her to lie prone and I asked her to extend her spine without any support. Usually the pain should centralize, that is, it should decrease. But in her case, it did not decrease and it increased. That McKenzie test is used to test whether the annular integrity is good and whether it can heal or not. The next thing was her SLR was bilaterally free and there was no neurological involvement in both lower limbs. So I got her MRI done, and as usual, there was some disc desiccation in L4, L5 level, but nothing significant was seen in sagittal images. In the axial images, the reporting was done as normal, but when I zoomed into the image, I could see an annular tear. To describe what an annular tear is, I'll just demonstrate by video. Whenever there is a trauma to the disc, the central nucleus herniates into the different layers of the annulus. It does not bulge out, but it just grows into the annulus. And this is the annular tear which causes back pain. So now coming again to that same picture, you can see very clearly that she had an annular tear which was missed by previous all doctors and even the radiologist. And but as we know, there is very high prevalence of asymptomatic annular tear and disc desiccation on MRI. So again, we are back to zero because it does not tell us anything that where the pain is coming from. So next step was I had to do was I localize her pain generator in the spine. So I did a discography in which we inject a radio opaque dye into the disc and we try to inflate
disc, L45, L5?
L45, sir, L45.
L45.
So we try to inflate the disc and we check for how is the response and how is the radiological outcome of putting the dye. In putting the L45 disc, we saw there was an annular tear with leakage of dye from the center of disc into the posterior annulus. So it correlated with that annular tear that we were seeing on the MRI. But the most important thing we saw was the patient experienced similar kind of pain in her back when we inflated the disc. So this was the most important thing which made us to make us our diagnosis that the pain generator was now identified at L4, L5 level. And this disc was symptomatic in her, which was being missed. So while doing the discography, after putting the dye, injected steroid in her disc, and we waited for 15 days to have this steroid to have an action. But even after 15 days, she did not improve. So we took the decision of doing a transforaminal endoscopic debridement of the annular tear and annuloplasty under local anesthesia. So we reached this disc by a transforaminal approach. This is not posterior midline, but through the sides. We start from around 10-11 centimeters from the midline. We go below the superior articular process and reach the disc between the exiting and the traversing nerve root. This is a safe area known as Campion's triangle. The purple thing on the top you are seeing is the traversing nerve root, and on the left, the purple thing is the exiting nerve root, and in the center is the disc. So this is the endoscopic perspective this is from where we operate. So in the axial view, this is exactly from where the cannula enters into the disc, and we reach directly bang on the annular tear. To reach there, we inserted our guide wire with first into the midline in the AP view and the posterior 25% of the disc in the lateral view. We directed our cannula in the same direction, and as we entered the disc, we saw there was an annular tear in the center. as we removed some of the trapped nuclear fragments, you could see the epidural space being visible from this side. The dark area is the epidural space. We are working from inside the disc and we are seeing the epidural space. The next thing we did was we removed the trapped nucleus fragments from the annulus by using an articulated curettes. And then on the top that you see is the dura. And we are working between the two end plates. So we removed the part of annulus which was redundant on that area, and we cleared that annular tear. This was done completely under local anesthesia, so patient could feel her pain as we were trying to probe it. This is a bipolar probe. We were trying to ablate her pain generators in the spine. So we were probing various parts of her posterior annulus, and we were asking for pain sensation. And wherever she said that she is experiencing pain, we ablated the tissue, and instantly she said that now pain is gone. So we did it. We treated her entire posterior annulus with this technique, and we could even reach across the midline and we ablated her across the midline, and we ablated all her sinovertebral nerves across the midline up to the opposite side. So by doing this, she had complete pain relief on table at that instance also. But at the end of surgery, you could see there's a defect in the annulus. So to clear that annular defect, what we did was, this is a 7 mm incision through which we did our surgery under local anesthesia. Just one more slide. When we were visualizing her annular tear, we could see the region of inflammation, that is a pink structure in the middle of the disc. That is where the vessels have grown in from outside in. And that was a soft part in her annulus, which was painful. And as we ablated that part of annulus, her pain was instantly gone. So this is a way we could, in vivo visualization of pain generators can be done by endoscopic spine surgery. And we could very beautifully see where the pain is coming from, and we could visualize and ablate those structures only. So it does not damage other parts, but only we ablate only the painful parts. And after doing this, her pain is gone completely. But there was an annular defect that we had to plug. So we used a platelet-rich fibrin plug that has been created by her own blood, which was centrifuged for 10 minutes and was kept stand still for 10 minutes. And we got a fibrin plug. Now we inserted that fibrin plug into her annulus by the same endoscope, and it was seated very well into that region where we operated, and it closed that defect. Now it has been theoretically known that it reduces the chances of disc herniation, reherniations, when we close the defect by our annular plug. So the results was that patient had immediate on-table relief from her back pain that she was suffering from past 2 years. She started walking pain-free 10 minutes after the surgery and was discharged by the same evening. The PRF plug that has an excellent anti-inflammatory effect, and its fibrin meshwork with platelet-derived growth factors helps in regeneration of the tissue in the annular defect. So my take-home message would be that non-healing annular tear due to trapped nuclear fragment is a significant cause of discogenic back pain in young adults. And we must aggressively locate the pain generator in such patients who fail to respond for conservative treatment. Most of the patients respond well with conservative treatment, but there are few patients who do not have any, who do not improve with conservative treatment. So transforaminal endoscopic spine surgery under local anesthesia is an excellent modality to visualize the pain generators and treat back pain. And I just have to make a comment that the posterior midline spine surgery done under general anesthesia is ineffective in treating such cases. And that's why people who do posterior midline would say that such surgeries are not indicated and should not be done. But the transforaminal endoscopy is a different spine surgery altogether. And these indications for transforaminal endoscopic surgery are very different from posterior midline surgeries. And that's it, sir. Thank you so much.
Good.
Good.
Very good. What was the final follow-up? You are following up the patient?
Yes, sir. She is doing very well now. It's 2 months after the surgery, and she has no back pain now.
Very good. I must congratulate your presentation style also. We could actually feel like you are doing all these things. So it's a very good presentation.
We felt that we are inside. Yeah.
Yes.
We are probing ourselves. Videos were also good. Yes, it was conveyed very well.
Yeah.
The only question is,
Yes.
which is the cutoff time? Then you will do endoscopic. Conservative time fails when? What is the cutoff? The question is, what could be the natural history if waited for more time?
So we usually wait for 6 to 8 weeks for it to resolve, or at least decrease in some intensity. If it's not resolving, we'll do an MRI and do intradiscal steroid injections. And we'll localize the pain generators. Basically, what we are missing is we are not localizing the pain generators. We are just passing on the patients. If it's not resolving in 2-3 months, we should work aggressively to localize where is the pain coming from. If it's the disc,
yeah, please proceed.
If it is a disc, and because most patients with discogenic pain do very well with intradiscal steroid injections or epidural steroid injections. So that needs to be done. And that's a very cost-effective way to manage these things.
His question was very logical. If not done anything, would this patient be asymptomatic in a due course of time?
Yes, sir. This is a natural history of how a disc prolapse occurs. The first thing is annular tear, then it would herniate, then it would develop some neurological changes in the lower limbs. So we are treating it in the initial stages itself.
So initial stage, it is a chemical reaction by a rupture of the annular, and that chemical reaction, serogenic reaction, gets the pain mediators, and that's why there is a new vascularity, and that gives the pain. Right,
yes, sir. Exactly.
So you wanted to relieve the pain at that same time.
Yes,
and at the same time, you want to prevent the further disc prolapse. So you put a fibrin for healing.
Yes, sir. Yes.
But is there a report that prevents the further disc prolapse in a series of in follow-up of these patients?
Yes, sir. In our closed study, we have it, but it's not been publicized. We are also doing a tissue culture analysis of what PRF and disc tissue do together when they're placed together. And by the end of year, we are going to publish that study that will show that the annular tissue are being actually regenerated in that area. And
because
it is one of the...
You are putting with the platelet, also platelet comes with that. And that platelets are known to, in many regions, to give the soft tissue healing. In epicondylitis or in retrocalcal bursitis or...
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to know that for one of the stages, you said that you did discography.
Yes, sir.
And then you put steroid inside. And why that did not work?
Sir, when the when it is just the inflammation, the discography works very well. But when there's a trapped fragment which cannot heal, which is not allowing the annulus or the inflammation to subside, then only we do an endoscopy.
But we think reversely. If you have given a local injection there and it has given a pain relief, then you have located the pain generator. If pain gets relieved, then you make that switch off and light gets off. Then you come to know that that is the same switch which makes off and on of that light.
Yes, yes.
So that the pain was not relieved even after the injection. So that was the pain generator or not? How you define?
No. The pain should increase. I did not give local anesthesia.
Okay,
I inflated the disc. The thing what I meant to say was I inflated the disc. I increased her pain to localize where the pain is coming from. I did not use anesthetic because anesthetic are known to mask some other things.
Suppose there was no any pain, a normal patient, and you inflate, then also it will create a pain.
It will create, but it will not be a similar kind of pain. You'll have pain in a different region.
Okay.
But the patient tell very well that yes, I have ऐसा ही दर्द होता है मेरे को, ऐसा ही दर्द होता है जब भी होता है.
Okay.
The interesting part is in the follow-up. Could you see the change in McKenzie test?
Yes, sir. Immediate post-op McKenzie was negative, and even after 2 months, it's negative.
Good.
Because it is the targeted delivery of he has reached the target, he has defined the target, and he reached the target, just like Arjun.
Only thing, Ankit, I would ask is,
yes,
in the spinal surgeons group,
yes, sir,
has this become an acceptable surgery?
Sir, in endoscopic spinal group, it has become very acceptable. But if I go to Bombay spine surgeon group, no, I'll be bashed very badly.
That's what I'm trying to do it here. Because
I've tried it and I've been bashed very badly.
Because I think only with the small, I don't want it to be conveyed that this is the treatment. I feel this is a controversial treatment. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
There is a possibility.
So we are working on it. We are working on it to make
making
it a mainstream. We are working on it so that many people accept it. It will take time, sir. But
no, I think I've been seeing it. The people, quite a lot of my students who have been doing this endoscopic surgery for last about 5-8 years. I think it's that probably the highest person doing was in Pune. That Dr.
Gore,
and all the other people and all. So it has not become a mainstream acceptance. Yes. Is it because of something different thing or I don't know. Anyway, no, we leave it at that.
Sir, let him grow, then he will answer.
No. I think it's as he said, as Jawar said, beautifully demonstrated.
Yes.
The procedure, no question about it.
Yeah.
Yes, Govind, you want to say something? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say. See, initially...
Tanna sir, meanwhile, can you share your screen of your case, Tanna sir? They want your case, sir. Please.
Hamara turn aa gaya.
So, sir, this was the last from the Chhattisgarh. I think so.
Yes. Yeah, about 10 years back, Milind was interested in endoscopy. And one from Pune was used to come to our hospital and do endoscopic this surgery, what he has just now shown. I was opposing that time and said that this is not a accepted surgery because Bombay, I have discussed with many surgeons and they are discouraged me. So I stopped it. But then after a few days, Milind again started. And now I find the two results. No, it's a very simple procedure under local anesthesia. Patient goes home next day and appears to be a better thing. So now, currently, we are encouraging and doing a lot of endoscopic surgery for discs. So that's the change I took because I compared the results of endoscopic and open surgery. And I found that the endoscopy was really a good surgery. And I don't know why Bombay people are not accepting it.
So one point I'd like to add that the back pain that that is not very well treated by posterior midline surgery, is very well treated by transforaminal approach. That's my experience that almost all of my patients that I've operated, none of them have complaints of back pain after the surgery. But earlier when I used to do posterior midline, most of the patients who even did not have back pain developed back pain after the surgery. So that's the benefit that I feel is we have, that we do not give back pain to the patient, or if there's back pain, we treat the back pain.
The crux is we are not able to identify where the pain is coming, I think.
Yes.
What is the reason of the pain? That is the main issue,
and
I think.
Doing it under local anesthesia is very helpful because the patient is awake and he can tell you, yes, this is painful, this is not painful, and he can localize. That is the best neuromonitoring available. You cannot damage the nerve root at all. He will not allow you to touch it. And it's one of the safest things to do, I think.
I want to ask one question.
Yes. I'll ask one question.
Yes.
Is it possible to operate all type of disc prolapse with this procedure?
Yes, sir. I do everything. I have done even migrated disc, even behind the pedicle I've operated, even superior migrated, inferior migrated.
Okay.
And even, sir, some people, because it is a very equipment intensive surgery, you have to have all the equipment that is available to do this surgery. If you have missing some equipments, you will not be able to reach that corner.
Okay.
How many, if I can ask you, Ankit.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I'm a cynic.
Yes.
How many discs need surgery? 95, 98, we will not need it?
Yes, 98 will not need it. Probably 1 and 2.
Will not need it.
1 or 2.
Probably 1 or 2% need it.
Yes.
And that also, if you wait long enough, they will also go away.
But yes, what they can achieve...
I'm now neural deficit persisting, I'm not talking about.
Okay, I'll just add to that one thing. What people can achieve by conservative treatment in 2-3 years, I can achieve in 2 hours. So patient has to choose what he needs.
Okay.
He has a choice. If he does not want to bear that pain for 2 years, I can relieve him in 2 months, and that is okay for me.
Point well taken.
Sir, all spine surgeons says disc will resolve itself in 1 year, but they operate a lot of cases of disc.
नहीं वो जो operate करते हैं अलग बात है. Now since Since I asked the question, I'll tell about it. My disc surgery, you know, I was basically, to start with, I was a spine surgeon. My disc surgery rate now has dramatically dropped. If the acute pain is looked after by root blocks. Once the root block, the pain goes away, there is a natural cycle, the disc resolves. And then I think, because the patient is asymptomatic. So what Ankit is saying is we can shortcut it, which is shortcut is by the root block.
Yes.
And the root block, the pain goes away. And then if at all it comes back, that is the maximum is only occasionally the second root block is done. Most of the time the patient goes away. So to me, the disc is persistent neurodeficit, or a Koda equina we are not talking about. That's a different ballgame completely altogether. Persistent root deficit, which is probably the only indication, would become the disc surgery. But we close it at that. I think is a controversial section, and I don't want to discourage Ankit, and I don't want to really oppose it, because I think it's marvelously done job, and we are going to hear Ankit again and again in future. Thank you, Ankit. Beautifully done.
Thank you so much. Thank you.